Thank you. Welcome. Sorry for what happened earlier on. I had to cut off because I was taking a call. So, welcome and good evening. Maswera sei kumatiwimana ese nyika kwa muri. This is your evangelist live in my studio. Remember, this is a one-man studio, so I am the same person who will be doing A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and there's no famba sokadaro. So yes, don't you worry. This flag, uyumucheka wenyika, jirari nyika tinaro, madekwana anasi, patikuda kukurukura. Now, the upenyu about life. Now, I have put down there my topic as radical acceptance with compassion is key to survival. And we do this in meditation. We also learn that in mindfulness. We also learn that in contemplative prayer. We learn that mukufunganya pakufunga pakugara. Now, regarding taure ndichiti, to those people who are keen in reading and study of therapeutic interventions that are happening today throughout the world, zvirikuitwa nevana vevanhu pakubatsirana pakugara nekurarama, well-being. Ukanzwa pachitaurwa nyaya well-being, aushaye kunzwa pachitaurwa nyaya yemunamato. Aushaye kunzwa pachitaurwa nyaya yemeditation, aushaye kunzwa pachitaurwa nyaya yemindfulness, aushaye kunzwa pachitaurwa nyaya yeyoga, aushaye kunzwa pachitaurwa nyaya dzetumwe twakasiyana-siyana tunana relaxation. And I will tell you that the baseline, not if I say baseline, I think it's an understatement. The key, the center of all these interventions or of all these ideas is based on the Word of God. It is based on the Word of God from Genesis kusvikira kuna zvakazarurwa. Your life, mwana wa Mwari, kana uchida kuti ifambe zvakanaka, there are certain things that you must accept. There are certain things that you must learn to live with. Let me say, kuti each one of us who is on this earth, any man, woman, animal, tree, whatever, building, all these buildings that you see, they did not just come from anywhere. They were created by a super force, a superpower. One force, one superpower. And to us Christians, this superpower, this force is called God. And to those who do not believe in God, they call it nature. There is a superpower who created everything that you see under the sun. Because everything that you see under the sun comes from something that was created. Building, chaiyo, irikubva muvhu rakakreatwa. Need that superpower, created by God. The computers that you use are a product of metals, minerals that are mined from the ground, created by that superpower, by that force. All these countries that claim to be, we are super rich, we are super this, they were created by this superpower, by this super force. So there is nothing that is under the sun that came about by its own accord, by its own self, but it was created. Something created it, and that force is what controls things. So in life, if you want to enjoy life on this planet, if you want to enjoy this type of life that we are living, there are certain things that you need to embrace and accept. Reality is something that is hard and difficult and painful to accept, But if you are constantly fighting against reality, then your life is going to be horrible. Reality is reality. And what can you do about reality? Most of the time, there is nothing that you can do, because that is how it is. Listen, my dear friend, in as much as we might not like the heat of the sun, in as much as we might not like the sun, but there is no way you can turn down its heat. All you have got to do is to try and do things to adapt to the heat. It's either you create something that will help you to cool down. You will create something that will help you to hide, but the heat of the sun will constantly be what it is. So, kana upenyu hwako iwe uchida kurwisana nereality, uchagara uri wekutambudzika, uchagara uri wekuchema, uchagara uri wekusuwa, uchagara nguva dzese wakamwamara, uchagara nguva dzese uchitambudzika. Why? Because you will be fighting something that you cannot overcome. Tsunamis, earthquakes, these are natural forces. These are natural forces. And there is no man who can stop a tsunami. There is no man who can stop an earthquake. So if you refuse to accept such things, that they exist and they do what they want at a given time that they choose. No one has ever dictated to a volcano to say you will erupt at this time. No one. We can't. If you think you can, then you are just fooling yourself. Volcanoes will erupt when they feel like they want to erupt, and they will stop when they feel like they want to stop. But what do? We can learn how to live with volcanoes. We can adapt. And man has gone on to create technologies that help them to sense, to predict, and to know when a volcano might erupt, when an earthquake can happen, when we can have tornadoes, when we can have all these disasters. We put in place systems, we put in place mechanisms that will help us to live with these things. If you refuse, then it will be disaster. Let me say, acceptance, radical acceptance, is key to survival, to men's survival. And this is something that is there within the Word of God. Now I want you to think, just take a moment to think of today. What is it that you are refusing to accept? Something that has happened in your life that you are refusing to accept. Something that is happening in your life that you are refusing to accept. Just check yourself out. Is it an illness? Is it a job situation? Is it a family situation? Is it a political? Is it an economic circumstance? What is it? Is it educational? What is it that today you are saying, this situation, I can't accept it? What I want you to do is to just quickly check it out. Check out kuti situation iyoyo ndiwe here wakaisika. Are you the one who brought it about? Are you the one who created it? Are you the one who invited it to yourself? There is a super force. There is a powerful force. There is God who makes things happen. Now, to kutaura nyaya acceptance, just to simplify life yedu, the book of Job, chapter 14, I think this is a chapter that when you are struggling with accepting certain things in life or anything in life, whatever you are not wanting to accept right now, you need to read the book of Job in its entirety, and in particular chapter 14. You need to familiarize yourself with this basic truth that Job spoke about in his book. You need to familiarize yourself with this chapter. You need to familiarize yourself with this book. Acceptance. Radical acceptance. Now, I know there are people with various issues, with various circumstances. And when they hear radical acceptance, or when they hear accepting, it's like justification of whatever has happened to them, or whatever is happening to them, whatever the circumstances are. Let me say quickly, when we say radical acceptance, genuinely accepting a situation as it is not justifying that like it is right. No. Let me use a very, very painful example. If you have been abused in your life, in whatever way, in whatever form, if you do not radically accept the abuse, that it happened, and it happened to you, or it happened to a friend, or it happened to a relative, very, very close to you, if you do not accept, if you do not take that on board and face it as it is, you are going to constantly be avoiding, trying to run away, trying to block, trying to stop. It is not justifiable. No human being should abuse another in whatever shape and form. We all need to be kind and loving towards one another. So there is no way. Every human being has got the right to good health. Every being has got the right to peace, security, and stability. Every human being, every being is entitled to enjoy the fruits of this world equally without any favor. This is a right. But bad things happen to people. Just like bad things happen to ants, happen to trees, and bad things happen to mountains too. So bad things also happen to human beings, to you and me. And what is important is to accept that such things have happened. And it was not my own choice. It was not my own making. All right. There are some things that we have done. We have sat down and actually made a choice to go and murder someone, to go and rape someone, abuse someone, deprive someone, neglect someone, divorce someone. We have went on to gossip about someone knowingly. But let me tell you, also there is something that you need to do. Radically accept. You need to radically accept that you did that and it was wrong. If you are to survive. The reason why people suffer excessively is because they refuse to accept. Radically accept that, yes, my mom has died, or my mom died. It's not your fault. It's nobody's fault. Oh yes, they might have been shot by someone. They might have been bombed by someone. Collateral damage. They might have been raped by someone. But the bottom line is, it happened. And because it happened, there is nothing that you are going to do to stop it. Because it is happening. If it is continuing to happen in the event of abuse, if you are living in an abusive relationship, if you are living in an abusive environment, if you are being abused right now, you don't sit and accept it and say, okay, EvangMangwende was talking of radical acceptance. I'm talking of things that have happened. If it is happening now, get your phone, whichever. If it is 999, phone 999 and ask for the police so that they can rescue you. 911, wherever you are, use your phone. Use your mind to act. Accept that that is happening now is not right. And it needs to be stopped and it needs to be reported because it is not right. Radically accepting things is what will make us survive. Now, talk of people who have been traumatized. I've been talking about this since last week or a week before. You know what? Hard as it may be, hard as it is, difficult as it is, and I understand how difficult it is to live after an abuse. But if you face it and radically accept that it happened, it is going to help your mind and body to cope. Now, I'm telling you, kune facts about life. There are certain things about life that we cannot change them. I've said several times, when we are practicing mindfulness, we are practicing accepting the present moment, being in the moment, and paying attention to what is as it is. It can be sounds, it can be sensations, it can be smells, it can be visual. Being aware in the moment, describing or narrating, participating actively, all in it. But in meditation, it is a step further because it is now sitting, it is now letting what is be what it is, based on the fact that in Job chapter 14, man born of a woman is of few days and full of trouble. This is a basic truth, whether you like it or not. Man who is born of a woman, any man, any woman, any being, be it an animal, and a tree, any being that is on this planet has got fewer days to live, and most of those days are full of trouble, are full of suffering. So the basic truth that we need to radically accept if we are to survive any form of problem is to accept that life is suffering. It is meant to be hard and difficult. So when bad things are happening to us, it is not like it abnormal. This is what life is. But it doesn't mean that we cannot stop it. No. But we need to be aware that bad things happen to good people. And also bad things happen to bad people. And good things also happen to good people, and good things also happen to bad people. That's why muchinzwa shoko raMwari richitaura nyaya yekuti Mwari ndimaenzanise mvura yake inonaya kumunda wemuroyi, kumunda wemuKristu bishop, kumunda wemhondi, mumunda wembavha, kumunda wechi. Mwari vanonayisa mvura. When the sun comes up, it doesn't choose kuti uyu muKristu, uyu muHindu, uyu Muslim, uyu muchi. No, the sun comes up and it shines on everybody. It's only different kuti dzimwe nguva region yauri nhasi ine makore, asi region ina ningi haina makore. But the sun is there equally to everybody. This is the same with problems. This is the same with suffering. It is universal. There is no one who can say, stand up and say, me, my life is free of suffering. There is no one. Even the richest beggar you can think of today's life is full of suffering. And possibly they don't even sleep 7-8 hours. They spend sleepless nights because they are not at peace. How many celebrities have committed suicide? Millionaires. Would you imagine the cause of suicide? You would think inhamo. Saka kana munhu aine mari yese uine a million gun. Just imagine yourself. If you were going to have a windfall, $1 million, £1 million comes your way today. Would you even imagine ending your own life? Oh yes. Money cannot buy you happiness. People have said, money can buy you a good bed, but sleeping in that bed does not require a bed. It requires peace of mind. You can have the most expensive bed here on earth, but if you do not have peace of mind, if your health is not good, then you are not going to be able to sleep on that. If your mind is troubled, is tortured, is traumatized, you are not going to sleep in that bed, no matter how expensive. Kunyangwe bed yacho ine music, kunyangwe ichita semvura inowerera, you will not find sleep. Until you accept that fact, kuti, it is not about riches. It is not about money that brings peace and joy. But it is our state of mind, managing our thoughts, managing our well-being. Now, that tarisa kuti chii chausiri kuda kuaccepta at this minute. And please, radically accept that. And I said, acceptance with compassion. Accepting with compassion. Not just acceptance, but accepting with compassion. What is compassion? Compassion is this act of giving yourself unreservedly, giving yourself to others, and also to you without setting any limits or boundaries. Just like Jesus Christ said, love your neighbor as yourself. No more or no less. No conditions. Just loving without any condition. And he even said, love your enemy, those who persecute you. Pray for them, love them. Even when you see them hungry, feed them. When you see them thirsty, give them water. When you see them homeless, give them shelter. Now, this is radical acceptance at its best to say, what has happened, but I need to continue to love. Job goes on to say, he springs up like a flower and withers away. Like a fleeting shadow, he does not endure. Continue to read. Uchaona kuti radical acceptance irikutaurwa panapa ndiye kuti situation yako iwewe mwana waMwari, your situation is something that is already determined, predetermined. It is there. It is unfortunate that sometimes you fall under that category. But if we accept and say, okay, all right, this thing is happening to me. This thing is happening. Kwanaya, kurukunaya, and ndikunaiwa. I need to do something. I need to find shelter. Rather than fighting against kunaya. No. I need to find shelter. I need to find a way of protecting myself from this rain. Okay, let it rain. Let it snow. Let it thunder. Let it be hot. But this is what nature is. Who has fought against nature and won? Tarisa kuti chiri kukutadzisa kudya chii? Tarisa kuti chiri kukudyisa zvakawanda chii? Tarisa kuti chiri kukurestricta the way you eat chii? Tarisa kuti what is making you binge eat, binge drink, and all those things? What is driving that behavior? You will find that you are refusing to accept something that just happened in your life, not because you invited it, not because you wanted it to happen, but some bad things happen to people and they don't have control over it. But acceptance, radically, you have control over it. I will tell you, the moment we learn to accept is the moment we learn to move on. You know, people who abuse fellow beings, people who abuse others, they want to break you down. They want to embarrass you. They want to shame you. They want to make sure you lose your confidence. They want to destroy you. And if you buy into that and start to blame yourself and start to crumble, to break down, and start to neglect yourself, and start not to caring, and you just wallow in misery, they will celebrate and say, yes, we did it. But if you turn your mind to acceptance, radical acceptance, and say, I know upenyu hwemunhu pasi pano, man who is born of a woman is of a few days, and his life, her life, my life is not meant to be rosy all the time. These are some of the things that the word of God says brings in suffering to this body. I will preserve myself. What did not kill me makes me stronger. I am here because I was stronger than the perpetrator. And I will live. And I will show the world that this body and this mind is unbreakable. And I am going to show the world, and I am going to show the perpetrator, and I'm going to show God that you're on my side, and I'll make it. And it is at that moment when you have radically accepted things like that, that you start to move forward. You start to lift up your chin, your shoulders, and move up and say, yes, I can do it. I've done it, and I'll continue to do it. But if you say, oh my God, Mwari ndakamutadzirei kwini, indawa Satani abva handidai. Regera ndikuudze mwana waMwari, regera ndikuudze mutendi, kuti bad things happen to good people, just like good things also happen to bad people. If we stand up and continue to face life's challenges, we will move forward. And we will not crumble. We will not die. Let me tell you, we are overcomers. Those not our Shokurama. We are overcomers. So, when you sit down to meditate, there are 3 basic truths that you need to meditate upon. Teach yourself from today. If you have not been, since we started a year now, teach yourself to accept the fact that, and accept this radically, genuinely, radically, to say, you know what? Life is suffering. The book of Job talks about it. Job chapter 14. Life is suffering. There are a lot of religions who have got the same thoughts about life, or knowledge about life, assumptions about life, truths about life. Ask Muslims, they will tell you. Life is not easy. Life is suffering. Ask Hindus, they will tell you the same thing. Ask yogis, they will tell you the same thing. Ask Buddhists, they will tell you the same thing. Ask even those who worship the devil, they will tell you the same thing. Ask even atheists, they will tell you the same thing. Life is suffering. This is a basic truth. This is a truth about life. And it is there from Genesis. When men sinned, God just made life hard and difficult. And it has been like that since. Truth number 1. Life is suffering. Truth number 2. There is a cause. There is a reason. Suffering is kind of transactional. There is a cause, there is a reason why man suffers. And we need to find time to sit down and problem solve. What is driving my suffering? What is causing this suffering? 3. There is an end to the suffering of men, or the suffering of all beings. There is an end. An end is there to suffering. Sometimes an end comes when we have basically done nothing but worship God silently. And the last one, 4. Did I say 3, 4? There is a way. There is a pathway. There is a way to the end of suffering. And our way to the end of suffering, the first and most important one is to meditate. Mindfulness, contemplative prayer, our faith in God. I will tell you, it is this acceptance that makes this body strong, that makes this mind strong. And the more we practice acceptance, radical acceptance, the more we become stronger and the more we will overcome. We are able to smile at people who poke you because you accept that, well, they are just there to poke you. And what's the point in arguing with them, or what's the point in poking them back? I have said before, 9/11 in America. America had the power. It had the power to say, compassionately, we accept that this is what has happened to our country. It's a bad, bad thing that has happened to us. And we forgive. Instead of retaliating, we are going to make our defenses better. We are going to make our skies safer. We are going to make our borders safer. We are going to protect ourselves. And this is how we will keep America safe. And we are not going to war with anyone. America would have achieved a great thing. But it chose to retaliate. And since then, there's never been peace in America and abroad. There is fighting. Jesu Kristu anotaura panoburitswa napita kana nechimwe chikomana banga achicheka nzeve. Anodzosera nzeve iyoyo. Uyu sebakatwara kumuhombodo. Uyu anoita upenyu hwebanga anofane banga. If you live a life of harming others, you will also die from harm. If you live a peaceful life, you will also die a peaceful death. Mwari werugare wakuitire zvakanaka. As we learn to radically accept things. Let me tell you, can abuse, don't put the blame on yourself. Even when you have abused someone, don't put the blame on yourself. It's time to start practicing radical acceptance so that you can move forward. How can you stop this behavior of abuse? If it is an anger problem, how can I stop this anger problem that is causing me to harm others? We need to come up with ways. And it is the way of compassion. If we are loving and we are kind, forgiving, empathic, compassionate, and we are warm-hearted, we will overcome this world. James anoti muti mufaro bedzi kana muchivira mumuedzi nematambudziko. Even kurwara. You know what magnifies pain is our refusal to accept it. And sometimes worry about a lot of other things. Oh, saka ndichadyei, ndichanwei, ndichazoita sei, vana vachaenda kuchikoro sei, ndichazoenda kuholiday sei, kozviya zvandaida kutenga chakati, kozvandine chikwereti chakati, kozvino zvazvichadini. Hey, come on. Kwakauya iyo inonzi chiri kwamazuwano COVID-19. A lot of banks are offering relief. Could you take a break? So, why worry? Take a break from paying your mortgage or your loan and everything and start some other time. Let us use what is there. Pain is magnified when we refuse to accept it. But when we accept it as our friend with compassion, pain becomes bearable. Zimbabwe, this is a message for you. We always will say it. Let us register to vote. And when the time comes for voting, let us go and vote. And when we vote, we are voting, our vote in 2023 or in any election, by-election or what that is coming, it's a compassionate vote. A vote for change. You know what I mean. Whether you are ZANU-PF or MDCT, you know what a vote for change means. Let us vote for a party of excellence. CCC, MDC Alliance, a party that we know it has got a good track record. Okay, let us put aside the track record. Tomboti haina track record, but in a hope, Timboisa was something new. 41 years, 42, 43 by 2023. A party that has been with us for so many years and has failed to give you a job. Why do you vote for it? Has failed to give you clean water. Why do you vote for it? Has failed to give you good education. Why do you vote for it? It has failed to give you good health. Why do you vote for it? It has failed you, especially you guys born 1970. From 1970 onwards, you have been failed. And why you vote for a party that has failed you is still in my head. Not understandable. It is time for us to change the way we vote and give someone new a chance. Who knows? For good or for bad. This might be what we have been wanting all these years, and it will bring in change. Zimbabwe, for your own information, our country is a rich country. Mineral-wise, vanhu vacho, nevhu racho, nechinyi, we have got a wonderful country. Tourism-wise, Zimbabwe can make billions from tourism. It's just not being managed well. Don't be afraid. Don't be intimidated. Register to vote. And when the time comes to vote, let us vote in our million and let us vote for change. And I will tell you, you will say to me, Evangelist Maitaura Zochokwana, when we voted for change, definitely change, we saw it. Zvinhu zvakufamba zvakanaka munyika. Kumaruzeva kwese kwani mutserendende. Kwese kumaruzeva kwani mutserendende. Life in Zimbabwe can be good. I'm telling you. These guys who are in they've traveled abroad. They've traveled abroad. And abroad they have traveled, they have seen good things. And they know how to bring good things to your rural area. But they just don't want, because they want to line their own pockets. Let us teach, my teacher, kuzikoro, let us teach vana kuti chinonzi kuvota chi, and how do we vote and whom do we vote for. It's not just voting because we've got to go and put an X. Kuisira X pane munhu anokuabuse, munhu anokuuraya, munhu anokurova, munhu anokunyima, munhu anokuitira chi. That is not a compassionate vote. That is not a knowledgeable vote. Let us vote with our minds and our hearts, and we vote for change. And Zimbabwe will be a great nation. Zimbabwe is a great nation. I will tell you. South Africa knows it. Botswana knows it. Zambia knows it. All Southern Africa knows it. Even up to the east, west, north of Africa, they know Zimbabwe is a powerhouse. It's only because it's being mismanaged. And that's why you find they don't want to do a lot to stop the looting, to stop the rigging, to stop all the abuses that are carried out by the ruling party. Because they know once Zimbabwe will shoot up to become the center of attraction in Africa. You can change it. You can change it. You have got the power to change it. And I am asking you with a kind heart to register to vote and to vote for change. God bless you and good night.